For those that haven't, don't worry, I'll be talking a little bit about it today. But before I begin, I want to thank all of you for being here. Single largest audience I've ever spoken to, so my knees are a little shaky. And I want to thank the Yeager family for having me here. I'm honored to be in the presence of such alive people, so thank you very much. Before I begin, I'll give you a quick synopsis of my background. As I said, my name is Robertkiyosacky. It sounds like Kawasaki. I wish it was Kawasaki. I would be a playboy in Tokyo today. But the name is Kiyosaki, and I am fourth generation Japanese American. I was raised in Hawaii. And when anybody comes up to speak to me in Japanese, I will have no idea what you're saying. I was raised in Hawaii and educated in New York. I'm going to talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's a true story. Some people come up to me and say, is it really a true story? I go, yes, it is. One's about my real dad, who was a PhD in education. Brilliant man. He graduated from university in less than 2 years. He then went on to Stanford University, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University. The guy was an academic genius. And then my other dad was my best friend's father. And my best friend's father was a high school dropout. Now, guess which was the rich dad? The guy that dropped out of school, you know, because he didn't go to school. He didn't mess his mind up. Anyway, both dads recommended I go to college anyway. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about the story of these two different fathers recommending different things for me. For instance, my poor dad, the PhD, he always said to me, go to school, get good grades so you can find a nice, safe, secure, what? Job. And that was good if you were born before 1950 or 30, but today there isn't really a safe, secure job. They don't pay that well anyway. And what my rich dad said to me was, don't listen to your old man, listen to what I have to say. And my rich dad said to me, don't work for anybody else, build businesses. And what he said to me was, thank you. So I have, since a little kid, have been building businesses. So my rich dad said to me, he says, when you talk to your banker will, or your real estate agent, to your account generally says your house is an asset. He says, they're inaccurate. That's why they're not rich. And so what Rich Dad taught me, the difference was between an asset and a liability was dependent upon the word called cash flow. That's what made something an asset or a liability. So if the cash flow flowed into your income or into your pocket, then it was an asset. So I'll say it again. So if the cash flowed into your pocket, it was an asset. I was 9 years old. This is not that tough. I understood that. I said, that's good. For those of you who want something exciting, go and read a dictionary or a financial book, what they define an asset as, and you'll get really confused. And so this is the cash flow pattern of an asset, and this is the cash flow pattern of a liability. So very simply, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that what? Takes money from your pocket. So, a person's house. In the spring of 1999, I'll be launching my next book, and that book is called The Cash Flow Quadrant. Was it called The Cash Flow what? Quadrant. And I'll show you the cash flow quadrant now. I showed it to the directs the other day. This is the cash flow quadrant. And I think this has tremendous relevance to your life or your work here. This is what my rich dad showed me. The cash flow quadrant, the E stands for employee. What does E stand for? Employee. Very good. What does S stands for? Self-employed. What does S stand for? Self-employed. B stands for business owner. What does B stand for? Thank you. And I stands for investor. What does I stand for? Investor. So, the reason it's called the cash flow quadrant, it's because it's where does your cash flow from. So, let's say you're a postal worker and you have a W-2, then you're an employee. The trouble with being an employee, who gets taxed the hardest? Employees. That's the problem with getting a nice, safe, secure job. So what a lot of people did during this downsizing days and all that, well, let me first say this. The self-employed person, a lot of people say they own their own businesses, which is true. But there's a difference between a self-employed business person and a business owner. And the difference here is this. A self-employed business person cannot leave the job. In other words, if they left, the income would go up or down. Down. In many cases, this is an electrician, a plumber, a dentist, many small business owners, etc., salespeople. They're self-employed. A business owner, on the other hand, the defining thing my rich dad said between a business owner was a business owner could leave the business for a year or more and come back, and the business would be running better, income would be up, and you could go off for another year if you wanted. And that was a defining difference here between a self-employed business owner and a business owner. Those are the differences.